Assalamualaikum and hi. So now we are going to look at subtopic 4.3 from chapter 4, forces on moving charged particles in a uniform magnetic field. There are 4 learning objectives in this subtopic. The first one is to explain and use magnetic force equation, to determine the direction of force, to describe circular motion of charge in a uniform magnetic field, and to use the relationship FB is equals to FC. Alright, so there are few things that we need to bear in our mind before we look into this chapter. In 4.3, we are talking about force on a moving charge in uniform magnetic field. That means there must be magnetic field that are uniform presence in a certain space, and you are going to have charge moving in that uniform magnetic field. Therefore, we are going to discuss about the force that is present in this moving charge in a uniform magnetic field. Okay, so a stationary electric charge in magnetic field will not experience any force. So if the charge is stationary, there is no force experience. But if the charge is moving with a velocity v in a magnetic field B, then it will experience a force. So you will only experience force F when you have charge moving in uniform magnetic field. This force is known as magnetic force. Okay, we use symbol F, subscript B to identify or to indicate the magnetic force here. When a charged particle Q moves from velocity v in a magnetic field B, a force is given by the vector product. So when you have a charged particles with velocity v and in magnetic field B, the force that we are going to get is such that Q is the magnitude of the charge, bracket V is the velocity of the charge, cross product with the magnetic field of the charge. Okay, so since this is a cross product is a vector product, this equation becomes F is equals to QVB sine theta. Okay, I repeat, F is the magnetic force, B is the magnetic flux density, V is the velocity of the charge, Q is the magnitude of the charge, whereas the theta here is the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field, is the angle between V and also B. Alright, next we're going to look at how to deduce the direction of force, because as we know, we are so much aware that force is a vector quantity. You must have magnitude and also direction. Okay, so we use the above equation, F is equals to QVB sine theta to find the magnitude. However, to find the direction, we must use a right hand rule. Okay, it is a right hand rule, or we call it as right hand palm rule. Okay, so now we are going to learn on how to deduce the direction of force on a moving positive charge particle. Okay, remember, positive charge particle. The direction of magnetic force on a positive charge can be determined using right hand rule, where this whole hand of yours is going to play an important part to determine the direction of force. You are going to separate the hand of yours into 3 different parts, where you are going to focus on the 4 fingers here, the palm, tapak tangan kamu, and also the thumb. Okay, where the fingers here is going to represent the velocity. Okay, according to the equation, F is equals to QV cross B. Okay, so we have 2 vectors crossing each other, where V is the first vector, crosses with the second vector. Okay, velocity adalah vector, magnetic field pun vector juga. Okay, so V is the first vector. So, fingers here represent your velocity, and then the palm here, tapak tangan kamu, will represent the magnetic field. Okay, so when you swipe your fingers into the palm, you will be pointing your thumb in the direction of magnetic force. Okay, however, the direction of thumb yang kita dapat ini, which indicates the direction of force, is valid when your charge is a positive charge. Kalaulah it is a negative charge, you still use the right hand palm rule. Cuma direction yang kita dapat, contoh you get upwards. Contoh kamu dapat upwards, tapi disebabkan dia adalah negative charge, the actual direction of force akan jadi opposite to whatever you got, iaitu downwards. Kalau awak dapat ke kiri, direction yang sepatutnya untuk negative charge akan jadi ke kanan. Kita flip sahaja for negative charge. Okay, sekarang saya akan ajar how to deduce the direction using your right hand palm rule for the example here. Example 7 here. Okay, so sekarang kita nak cuba buat example 7 here. So we'll do this together. So the question asks to determine the direction of magnetic force. So kalau nak cari magnetic force, okay, kita akan guna right hand palm rule macam Miss ada mention tadi. Okay, dalam right hand palm rule ni, kamu akan ada 3 part. The first one is your fingers, di mana fingers ini will represent your velocity, and you have your palm here. Palm ini akan represent your magnetic field, dan thumb ini akan finally determine the direction of your force. So kita tengok contoh how to apply this right hand palm rule. Kamu ada charge kamu ini bersifat positif. Okay, it's a positive charge, and you have your velocity to the right. Okay, velocity kamu ke kanan. So apa yang kamu kena buat sekarang adalah ambil semua fingers kamu ni, keempat-empat fingers ni, point to the right direction. So awak pun pastikan dia point to the right direction. So sekarang dia tengah pandang ke kanan. Okay, dah pandang ke kanan, yang penting tak kisahlah awak punya tangan macam ni ke, yang penting all your fingers is pointing to the right. Kena pandang kanan dekat sana. And then tengok magnetic field kamu. Magnetic field kamu tengah pandang ke bawah muka surat, downwards of your page. Okay, ini adalah to the right of your page, and this one downwards of your page. So sekarang you have to make sure you flip your hand in such a way that your palm here akan point downwards of the page. So kita akan point, bila kita flip, okay, belum point downwards lagi, pusing lagi, belum point downwards, pusing lagi, sampai dia betul-betul point downwards. So at this particular point, maaflah besar sangat tangan saya, you have all your 4 fingers pointing to the right, dan palm kamu ini, tapak tangan kamu tengah point ke bawah. Okay, and then as you can see, your thumb sekarang at this particular point tengah point into the page. So your thumb here is pointing into the page. Lagi sekali kita tengok, kamu punya 4 finger ke kanan, your palm here, palm tapak tangan tengah pandang ke bawah. So when you swipe your fingers to the palm, your thumb here is pointing into the page. So ibu jari ini menunjukkan direction of magnetic force, therefore you can conclude that your magnetic force is pointing into the page. And since this is a positive charge, direction yang kamu dapat ini adalah direction yang betul, tak perlu flip tangan. Okay, kalau negative charge baru kita flip. So sekarang direction of F kamu akan jadi into the page. So bila into the page, dia kena 90 degree daripada yang ini, 90 darjah. So dia akan F into. Kalau takut nak lukis, dia kena 90 darjah. Tulis je F into the page. Okay, next example kita nak tengok, you have a negative charge sini, awak ada negative charge, and then awak ada B kamu ke atas, V kamu sekarang adalah into the page sebab dia tunjuk perpendicular to your B. Okay, 90 darjah daripada B. Kalau B kamu dah ke atas muka surat, 90 darjah daripada kamu punya B adalah dia into the page sebenarnya. So this is how it looks like sebenarnya. Okay, alright. So bila dia 2D tak nampak sebab tu dia lukis sebegini, as you can see that. Alright, so this is your B, yang black color ni B, yang blue color ni V kamu. So dia pun lukis begini. So your V is actually into the page sekarang. So menggunakan right hand palm rule kamu, make sure your fingers ini tengah point into the page. Pastikan dia point ke dalam muka surat kamu. Okay, lepas dia point ke dalam muka surat, what you do now is you're going to flip your hands such that your thumb here is going to point upwards of the page. Your thumb here has to point upwards and your fingers has to point into the page. So, fingers dah point into the page. Your palm here, palm. Tapak tangan point ke atas muka surat and you swipe. Bila kamu swipe, kamu akan dapat direction of your thumb dekat sini adalah ke kanan and this direction of your thumb is the direction of your force. So, dia indicate F kamu adalah to the right. Direction of force adalah to the right dekat sini. However, ini adalah negative charge. Disebabkan dia adalah negative charge, direction yang kita dapat ini salah sebab right hand palm rule ini valid untuk positive charge sahaja. So, tak adalah kita nak tukar tangan guna tangan kiri. Tak perlu. You can still use the same hand. It's just that tadi dah dapat V into the page, B outwards. Okay, palm kamu tengah point ke atas muka surat. Thumb kamu tengah point ke kanan, betul tak? Disebabkan dia adalah negative charge, kita flip dia sahaja. Kita akan terbalikkan opposite of kanan jadi kiri. So your magnetic force sebenarnya adalah to the left. Ini adalah direction yang betul disebabkan ini adalah negative charge dekat sini. Alright, next we're going to look at the third example here. Kalau kamu tengok, kamu ada cross dekat sini. So, kalau kamu tengok dekat sini, kamu ada cross dekat sini. Cross here indicates that into the page. So, siapa yang into the page dekat sini adalah B. So, dia letak cross banyak-banyak. Lepas tu, dia tulis B dekat tepi. This indicates that your magnetic field is pointing into the page. Okay. Dan juga kamu ada charge yang bersifat negatif and it has a velocity downwards. So, sekarang ambil fingers kamu. Make sure fingers kamu ini kena point ke bawah muka surat. So, kamu pastikan dia point ke bawah muka surat. So, you're going to point downwards. Okay. Point downwards ke sini. Point ke bawah. Lepas tu, B kamu kena into the page. So, flip your hand such that V ke bawah. Palm kamu, tapak tangan kamu ini kena into the page. So, dah masuk ke dalam. Tapak tangan dah masuk ke dalam. V kamu ke bawah. And then you have your thumb pointing to the right. Okay, thumb kamu tengah point to the right. However, sebab negative charge, opposite of kanan akan jadi kiri dekat sini. So, kamu punya magnetic force adalah to the left dekat sini. Your magnetic force is to the left. And then finally, kita ada last question here where you have velocity of your charge adalah ke kanan. Okay, it's a positive charge dan velocity dia ke kanan. However, dia tak bagi pun direction of B dalam soalan. Cuma dia kata kita ada conductor yang tengah carry current. Okay, kita kena first deduce the direction of B baru kita boleh cari F. Sebab right hand palm rule ini kita cakap kita pecah kepada 3, betul tak? Dia kena ada fingers, 4 jari ni, palm, magnetic field. And then kita ada thumb kita ni represent kita punya force. So dia kena ada V, B dan juga baru boleh dapat F ini. Tak ada V, tak ada B, tak dapat F. So dekat sini bila ada V, dia tak tunjuk B. Cuba kita tengok apa yang dia bagi adalah conductor carrying current. As we have discussed in 4.2, when you have a conductor carrying current, you can produce magnetic field. So kita akan produce magnetic field di sekeliling conductor ini in a circular ring ini. So first kita identify direction of B dulu. So current kamu tengah naik ke atas. So using your right hand grip rule, ini right hand grip rule kita nak grip, kamu punya current akan naik ke atas. As your current goes up, okay, so your hand is going to grip to show the direction of your magnetic field. So dia akan pusing in this direction. So di sebelah kanan conductor, on the right hand side of your conductor, kita akan ada magnetic field yang masuk ke dalam. Ini current ke atas, you're going to grip. Okay, kita imagine ini adalah kamu punya conductor itu. Okay, ini current kamu, current ke atas. So kamu pun grip. Bila kamu grip, dekat belah kanan current kamu masuk, dekat belah kiri current kamu keluar. Going into the page, leaving the page out. Okay, so bila dia going into the page dekat belah kanan kita akan ada magnetic field yang into the page. Belah kiri kita akan ada magnetic field yang out of the page. However, kita punya charge particle berada di sebelah kanan. Kita fokus yang kanan saja. So, V kita ke kanan. V kita ke kanan. Magnetic field kita pula, palm kita on the right side dekat sini adalah into the page. So it's going to go right and pointing into the page. So fingers ke kanan, fingers ini ke kanan, palm kamu into the page, and then you have your force is the direction of your thumb here upwards. Okay, kita ada force pointing upwards dekat sini dan dia adalah positive charge, maka itulah direction kita punya F kita. F upwards. Alright. So that is how you use your right hand palm rule. Ini V, ini B, ini F kamu.